Hi, my name is Hope Fairchild, and today I'm presenting on Minnesota and its political and budget systems. I'm going to start with the introduction of Minnesota. Minnesota became a state in 1858, and the name comes from the Dakota Indian words meaning sky-tinted waters or sky-blue waters. Native Americans lived here when the first Europeans arrived to the state, and then later, large numbers of German and Scandinavian immigrants arrived. Today, new Minnesotans come from a variety of different countries in Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia, and Mexico. Some of Minnesota's nicknames include the North Star State, Land of 10,000 Lakes, and the Gopher State. Minnesota has 4 seasons and diverse types of land, including forests, cliffs, and bluffs, and fields and farmlands. 60% of Minnesota's population lives in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area, while the other 40% live throughout the remainder of the state. The citizens of Minnesota have a higher average income than the average income of citizens in the U.S. Buying power in Minnesota is higher at 102 than the national average real value set at $100. These are pictures of the skylines of St. Paul, the capital, and Minneapolis, where 60% of the population lives. Then these pictures show some of the different types of land formations in Minnesota. Voyageurs National Park has forests, islands, and lots of water. The photos from Itasca State Park show how thick Minnesota's woods are, and this is also where the Mississippi River begins. The North Shore is rocky with cliffs and bluffs and is woody. The state is also covered in rolling hills and fields where farmland thrives. The next slide is about Minnesota's demographics. The state's population is about 5.6 million. Minnesota is the 12th largest state in terms of pure surface area, but 21st largest based on actual population. The median age is 37.8 years old. Minnesota's population is made up of 50.3% females and 49.3% males. The rate of homeownership is 71.6%, with an average family size of 3.06. 25.38% of Minnesotans have graduated from high school, 21.5% have some college education, 22.97% have a bachelor's degree, and 11.8% have a graduate degree. An average Minnesotan makes $41,827 a year. Minnesota has a 52.2% marriage rate, 66.8% employment rate, and 4.3% unemployment rate. Minnesota's major industries include healthcare medical equipment, forest products like wood and paper, printing and publishing, high technology like electronic equipment, scientific instruments, and computer equipment and services, food products like meat, dairy, grain products, and processed vegetables, finance and insurance, and tourism. Minnesota produces the most iron ore mine in the U.S. and is home to some of the biggest companies in the U.S., including Target, 3M, Best Buy, General Mills, Medtronic, and Hormel Foods. Next, I'm going to cover Minnesota's taxes. Individual income taxes make up about half, or 45.7% of Minnesota's tax revenue, which was $11 billion in 2017. The income tax rates are 5.35%, 7.05%, 7.85%, and 9.85%. Other taxes include general sales and use tax, corporate franchise tax, motor fuel excise tax, motor vehicle registration tax, and Minnesota Care taxes. The largest area of spending goes to health and human services. This includes the care of elderly and disabled, child protection services, and mental health services. Next is education, transportation, and then state government funding. Minnesota has some unusual and interesting taxes, including lawful gambling taxes. Minnesota is also one of 18 states, and D.C., that has the estate tax. Minnesota also has excise taxes, including gasoline excise taxes and sin taxes on cigarettes and alcohol. There are also wireless phone service taxes. Excise tax collections are higher in Minnesota than most other states. Now on to Minnesota's politicians. The governor is Tim Walz, who is a member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. The House is controlled by the DFL party. Minnesota's Senate is controlled by the Republican Party, or GOP. When asked, what would you say the political climate in the state seems like currently related to finances, and why, I found that Minnesotans have higher taxes compared to many other states, with relatively high corporate taxes and income taxes. We also have the estate tax. This to me correlates with the Democratic leadership in the governor's office and state house. The state also spends the majority of tax income on health and human services and education, which are generally priorities of the Democratic Party. Next, I'll explain Minnesota's current budget situation. It is forecasted that Minnesota will have a budget surplus of $1 billion. At this point in the budget cycle, state agencies have hearings that are held from September through December, and agencies should be submitting their budget requests to the governor in October. Minnesota's current state legislature is not in session, so the most recent bills that have been passed related to budgeting happened in late May. A few of them include the Special Session Education Finance Bill, the Special Sessions Revisers Bill, Special Session Jobs, Economic Development, Energy, and Commerce Bill, special session tax bill, and the special session transportation finance bill. Minnesota utilizes program-type budgeting, where appropriations are normally made at the program level. This comes to the end of my presentation about Minnesota. About 5.6 million people live in Minnesota, with 60% in the metropolitan area around Minneapolis and St. Paul, and the remaining population is spread out and living in diverse landscapes including forests, cliffs and bluffs, rolling hills, and farmlands. Because the DFL controls most of the politics in Minnesota, we have higher taxes and spend most of our revenue on human and health services and education. With Minnesota's higher taxes come high services. The next two slides are source cited pages. Thanks for listening to my presentation.